This is America.
America!
I do love America.
Be a part of the show at 850-233-9988. The Kramers Show on NewsTalk at 101.
Scott Major joins us today. 7 to 8, you got a free hour of legal advice. Post-Hurricane Michael, 850-233-9988 to get on the air. 850-233-9988. You can find Major Peruas on Facebook at Major Peruas, Magerparuas, Major Peruas, and on Twitter at Major Peruas Law. Mr. Scott Major, hello, sir.
Hey, pal, how you doing?
A-OK on this end. How is life on your end, sir? What is the latest? Are we getting people all buttoned up and getting the insurance payment into the hands of the people?
Every day we're getting people more money. It's a great time, and it's wonderful to be a lawyer and to be an active helper in making lives better for people in the Panhandle by getting them, their money. And it's a great time.
Ran into a friend of mine. I haven't seen him I haven't seen him in probably over a year. And he said, can you answer this question for me? He goes, are people that are, and he wasn't talking about himself, he just said in people in general. He goes, I hear you talking with the attorney on the air all the time, and is it possible to do it by yourself? And I was like, no, I don't really at this point, I don't think so. My personal opinion on that, after hearing all of this for over a year, is that maybe it is possible, but it's certainly going to take you a lot more time and a lot more effort than you're probably willing to, put out in the world.
Well, you're absolutely right. And statistics have shown that lawyers do far better than any other group who represents, individuals. And we've been enormously successful in getting virtually all the money for people. You have to understand that, when you get a lawyer involved, the insurance company has to get a lawyer involved, and they have to start paying money to that lawyer, and then they have to start paying money to your lawyer. And so on top of whatever they have to pay, they're paying 2 more people. And so it makes sense for them to pay attention to the claim with a little bit more, urgency. And you and I talked about this way back a year ago, in that I was telling people they ought to hire our firm because we could get them money a lot sooner. But, there were a lot of rumors going around about you don't hire a lawyer and public adjusters are better and they'll cost you more to hire a lawyer and so forth and so on. And while public adjusters in some ways have done an effective job, in many other ways, customers are coming to us, and not able to have recovered on their own or with adjusters or with contractors. And so we've taken over and been successful for people in maximizing and getting the most money, even getting money after public adjusters have gotten money, and then we get the remainder of the money. So the concept is that when you get an intelligent lawyer handling your claim, you're going to do a lot better. On top of that, we've educated consumers about the importance of getting the appropriate insurance so that they are covered in the future as we go forward, and they're maximizing their ability to get recovery. They're insuring themselves with the right insurance companies, but on top of that, they're getting the specific coverage they need, and they're not getting coverage they don't need. So we fulfilled a number of things. So we fulfilled, 1, getting people their money. 2, we've educated them about the insurance world, and we've created a better world in that we've helped emotionally people overcome what has been a nightmarish revisitation of the harm by insurance companies not fully paying when they could have or should have. And we're demonstrated in case after case why the insurance companies could have paid sooner, because they're paying us now. And so it's a really fulfilling thing to be able to help the people of Panama City and the neighboring counties and cities, and to be able to educate people in a manner that has made them smarter. I mean, you're a different person now, Kramer, since you've learned more about the way the insurance industry works and the way in which insurance works and the necessity of understanding these things just from a fundamental level of improving your life and making sure you're smarter about the things that affect you. And I think the other customers have done that. And we have gotten call after call of people who have been very, very happy with services. Listen, it's frustrating. And we have also felt the frustration from many customers being extremely upset because the insurance company's not paying in a timely way. And it's been frustrating to them because their lives have been displaced. And we've been able, through getting this money, to help people put their lives back together, move forward, and perhaps prevent this from occurring in the future by being educated and empowered.
Yeah, I think it's important to say that not only do you get the counsel of Scott Major and Brian Peruis on this particular instant, this particular storm, but you're also getting counsel, frankly, on how to move forward in case something like that happens again. And not just hurricanes, but anything, but more importantly on the emotional level. We just went through, I mean, we're probably technically still in hurricane season, but I mean, we went through a very stressful time this summer because it was so hot. And there were disturbances that were swirling around. And then you had Dorian, I believe, that at one point they had forecasted it for here. And we're going to be feeling that stress for many, many years to come. It's being gun shy and not paranoid. There's a difference. But I think in order to know, what can you do that provides you peace of mind to move forward? Using someone like Scott Major and those guys, definitely a positive in that regard.
Well, and I think that people have learned a lot about everything from insurance to how to handle the claim, to what's in their home, to what's insurable, to how to save money on insurance. I mean, you don't need to pay for insurance to cover a fence you don't have. You don't need insurance to cover a screened-in pool at a home that doesn't have a pool. You don't need insurance to be able to cover certain items that you don't have in your home. You certainly can consider reducing the amount of insurance on things which you already have. So if you have a brand new set of impact windows and a brand new roof, you certainly can negotiate with the insurance company to get a lower rate, or maybe you don't have to get as much coverage because the odds on you getting damage to those things are much less than prior to this time. So people have earned a tremendous savings from the Scott Majors of the world because we've educated them as to what insurance to get, how to understand how to look at an insurance policy. And this translates to other situations. It translates to car insurance. It translates to making sure that you not only have the proper car insurance, but you have something called UM, or uninsured motorist coverage, which covers you when the other guy doesn't have insurance. And you should always have that, because if you don't have that and you get hit by someone and you're disabled and you don't have enough insurance under your policy, and they don't have insurance, you could be in a bad situation. So understanding how insurance works helps you to translate this into a much more effective tool to make your life better.
850-233-9988. If you got a question for Scott Major, go ahead and call up, get on hold, and we'll get right to you. So you can get on the air and ask him a question. 850-233-9988. 850-233-9988. I did talk to some people that went to the thing with the, what was her name, Tara Carter, and some people got up and spoke, and there are some legislation deals going on that are constantly evolving. We could talk about that, too. Caller, you're up with Scott Major. Go ahead.
Yeah, Scott, how are you today?
I'm great, thanks. How about yourself?
On full disclosure, I am one of your clients, and I'm tickled with how much you've done for me and my wife. And I have a question. I think we're to the point where we're about to take this to the next level with the insurance company. And we were trying to establish a high number and a low number. Could you elaborate on what that would consist of? And I'll get off the air and
Sure. So ask our clients when the insurance company makes a demand, what it is that you want to recover. And do you want to demand every dollar that you're entitled to, which we'll encourage you to do, but the insurance company may not accept that money, and we will continue to litigate on your behalf? Or do you want to take something less than that total number in order to get your case resolved? So let me give you an example. Let's suppose that you're owed $100,000. Would you be willing to take $98,000 if that money was paid today? Or would you rather us fight for the $100,000, try to get interest on that, and fight for the next 6 months or 7 months to try to get you that? And we'll be happy to try to get you 100% of the money that you're entitled to. And we'll be happy to fight for as long as you want. But we always ask our clients, is there a number below that 100% number, in this case, in the example, $100,000, that you'd be willing to take, that you'd feel comfortable taking? Because we have to offer our clients the opportunity to resolve the case for whatever the insurance company is willing to pay, because that's the ethical and proper thing to do, even if we might have a personal opinion that we want to get you 100 cents on the dollar for every single case, because it might take time for you to do that. And so we always offer our clients, when the insurance company says, will you take less than the full amount to get this resolved, we always try to do that. Now, when we're in litigation, we equally try to say, well, if you're going to take less money, if you're going to take $98,000 instead of $100,000, we're going to get all of our attorney's fees from the insurance company. So your lawyer ends up being free. Or we're going to try to get as much as we can from the insurance company to reduce the amount of money you might pay us. This will then make you as whole as possible, and you will have saved money. So that's the concept when we call our clients and tell them, what is the least you accept based on what the insurance company demand is, but recognizing that I'll litigate every case to the end of the earth if that's what our clients want.
If in that scenario somebody's they're supposed to get $100,000, the insurance company says $98,000, and they decide no, we want to go the distance, will that cost them more eventually than the $2,000 in attorney's fees, or is that something that's usually recouped by the insurance company at that level, at that point?
Sure. So the lion's share of the time, we're ultimately successful in getting all of their money. But you have to recognize that a jury could come back and say that they don't believe your estimate. Even though you think your estimate's valid, it's put together by a public adjuster or an estimator. Sometimes those estimates are generous. And a jury can go back and say, I think you're entitled to every dollar of the $78,000 we've determined is reasonable. So understand, public adjusters and some of the estimators, oftentimes will either overstate the estimate or be very, very generous about the estimate. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that I could discuss, But the bottom line is your estimate may not be the final word. Just because your public adjuster or your estimator says, hey, it's $100,000 doesn't mean that a jury's going to agree with that. And that doesn't necessarily make them wrong. In some cases, people juice estimates and overstate them. You see that a lot with the remediation companies and things like that. But to the extent that a jury finds that it's less, it may be a perfectly reasonable number, that the estimate comes out to be 78 instead of 100, because a jury determines or a judge determines that that's a reasonable amount of money. So you can't just take estimates and assume that they're all perfect and you're entitled to all that money. You have to understand what is the reality of that estimate, how reasonable is it, how supported by the documentation is it.
Got to take a break. 850-233-9988. Scott Major's with us. Scott Major from Major Peruis and the Storm Help Team. 850-233-9988. We'll grab some calls coming up. Stand by.
Trying to suck less and less every day.
Ooh, you suck.
More of the Kramers Show coming up next on NewsTalk at 101. It isn't politically correct. It isn't politically correct. It's just correct. It's just correct. This is the Kramers Show on Panama City's information station, NewsTalk at 101.
Scott Major's with us from Major Peruis and the Storm Help Team. Phones are open for you to hop on and ask him a post-Hurricane Michael question. 850-233-9988. Gary, you're up with Scott Major. Go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, Scott. I live in a condo out on the beach. In fact, right there, I'm probably about 3 miles from, where Kramers sitting right now. There's some water coming into the, running down the walls in the unit. And so I had my personal adjuster come out. He came out and, did his thing, and they sent us a check. And now the water is continuing to come in. And I've taken pictures. I've gotten the association people involved. We have a public adjuster. Prior to this last little storm coming through, little, minor tropical storm, the Wednesday before that storm, we had the public adjuster and the association's insurance company come together and to go through one more time. And then when that little storm came through about a week later, water started coming in, same places. And I have a moisture meter. I checked it myself. It is wet, and it was wet. So anyway, so I posed a question to the association CAM, and I have a CAM license. My wife has a CAM license. We've had for years, and basically I own from paint to paint. So any water that's coming in from the outside is coming in, is the association's responsibility. And I'm trying to get some answers on that as to how and when they're going to fix the problem, number one, and then what they're going to do, to mitigate, whatever damage that there may be. Is there anything else I can do right now?
Thanks for the question.
I'll take your answer.
You're absolutely right. There is protection for you that you basically are responsible in your condo from the drywall in. And so if water is coming in from the outside, it is the responsibility of the condominium association. There are specific statutory requirements for the condominium to correct that. You should be drafting letters to them that specifically define what you have done, how you've reported it, and their recalcitrance. In other words, their failure to properly fix it. Give them a set amount of time. You have 5 days to come in and correct this problem. If they fail to do that, you have several rights, including filing a complaint with the state, or alternatively, pursuing a legal action against the condominium for their failure to properly pay. The best things in the world to do is to make sure you start with your documentation and have them explain to you why they're not fixing the problem, and then get an estimate for the damage and the amount of effort it will take you to fix that problem, so you can document that just as if you were dealing with an insurance company and they were asking you to document the problem. You want to treat this in the same way and write and document those things. And if you do, I think you'll be successful. If for any reason you're not successful, dial the 844-800-LAWS, 844-800-LAWS, and we'll happily give you some additional advice on how to handle it or take on your matter.
Got to take a break. In the meantime, 850-233-9988 to get on the air and ask Scott a question. As he said, their phone number, 844-800-LAWS. Plus, you can find them on social media. Very easy to find them on Facebook at Major Peruas, Magerparuas. And then on Twitter at Major Peruas Law, Magerparuaslaw, Major Peruas Law. 850-233-9988. One of the things that we talked about earlier we'll come back to, and I'll get your thoughts about, are estimates that get people in trouble. What are some of the common, missteps that people take when they're, doing their estimates? We'll talk about that and more coming up next with Scott Major.
This is the Kramers Show on Panama City's information station, NewsTalk at 101. The Kramers Show.
Kramer, hold on a second.
6 to 9 daily on NewsTalk at 101.
Scott Major's with us. Scott Major from Major Peruas and the Storm Help Team. Phone number to get on the air and ask Scott a question, 850-233-9988. So, Scott, when it comes to, doing estimates, how wildly, this is a question that has been in the back of my head for a while. How wildly different can an estimate be per a public adjuster, a contractor, etc.? There seems to be pretty big disparities between them and the insurance company on a regular basis.
Answer is, there can be disparity between the various estimates, and there often are. Some of the pricing that is utilized is often misguided. And what I mean by that is, if you need to have your roof replaced, and we are in Alpharetta, Georgia, or we are in Savannah, Georgia right now, the cost of that roof and to get laborers will be less than in Panama City, where it is extremely hard to get the materials and that there are less workers, so the labor costs are higher. And so what you have to do is properly price your estimates using realistic numbers. Now, that doesn't mean that you should artificially inflate your estimates, which I see a lot from various vendors, in order to somehow, strategize or somehow try to get the insurance company to pay more money. I see a lot of estimates that are done by other people where they inflate the estimates and then they claim, we have to inflate our estimate because the insurance company is always going to lowball us. And that is a bad decision. The smartest thing to do is to have an accurate estimate that is the exact costs that are associated with your repair and that are shown to be what's out there. And how can you do that? So if I go to 2 different roofers and I get estimates, or 3 different engineers and I get estimates, then I'm going to have a good understanding of what it really costs because I'm going to get various bids. If I use real-world pricing instead of artificial pricing, if I know exactly what wood costs at Home Depot or wherever it is that I'm purchasing that, and I know what the roof materials are, and I put those numbers in, then what's great about it is I can go in, and I do this all the time, and I say to the insurance company, tell me a vendor that will do this repair for less, and we'll hire them. We're not interested in trying to get more money than we deserve. We're trying to get our roof replaced. If you have a better vendor who can perform this service for less money, please tell us. And you can imagine how powerful that is when I'm in a deposition and I'm videotaping the depot, and I say to the insurance company, look into the camera and tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, because I'm going to play this in front of the jury, what's wrong with our estimate? Tell me the person who can do it for less than the estimate that's sitting in front of you. Name me all the vendors. And I've been doing this for a long time. I've never had an insurance company name me a vendor, ever, that could do it for less. So what I'm telling you is that use accurate numbers. If you inflate your numbers, then several things occur. The insurance company will immediately know you're a fraudster, or that your public adjuster or your estimator or other person is a fraudster, and they will scrutinize every aspect of your claim, not pay, and then get to a jury and show that your money's less than what you're entitled to. And that's something people have to understand. We get cases sometimes where the estimates are inflated. The client thinks, oh, well, I should get every dollar of that estimate. What you don't realize is that estimate is overblown. And when we talk to certain vendors, say a water or radiation company or some of these people, they'll openly say, well, we made it higher because the insurance company's going to pay less. That's preposterous. That's ludicrous, aside from being unethical. But I see it a lot, and it's just intolerable. If you're a listener, get accurate estimates, find out exactly what it costs to do things. The law requires that the insurance company pay 10% in overhead and 10% in profit, so your vendor's still making all the money they need to make, but do it accurately, and you'll get a lot better chance of being successful.
Is that up to the policyholder to go out and get bids? I mean, does that? I mean, maybe that's a dumb question, but does that fall back on you?
The answer is yes, because under our law, you have to prove what damages you're entitled to. So in order to prove what damages you're entitled to, you have to go out and have an expert, somebody who is skilled, go out and take the pictures, document the exact damages, and then go and price out what it costs to do the repairs. And if you do that, you're going to be in a better position. And I could talk to you at length, in another show if you want, about these, what they call exactimate, these estimates that people use, that are a program that a lot of people use because the insurance company uses it, and they think they're going to get paid faster if they use this kind of software program. And what it does is a lot of times it has artificial pricing that is not necessarily reflective of what the real pricing in your area is. So the most important thing is how much will it cost to get Bob's Roofing to actually do the roof. Not what some artificial program says, but really what estimators that are doing this job, that is roofs or contractors or people who are doing the work, how much will it actually cost? That helps you in an immense way.
If somebody comes out and inflates the estimate, the insurance company, I would assume, no matter what the estimate, I'm sure the insurance company is going to question the number. If it's inflated a lot, then I would assume that would also wind up taking more time, because then you have to go back and forth, and then you have to prove why this number is that number. And so, you're probably likely not to get the overage, plus taking more time. Is that right?
You're 100% correct. I can't emphasize enough. Make sure that whatever estimate you have, if you haven't been paid, that's what it costs to fix your property. If that's true, I can go in and fight for every one of those dollars. But there's nothing more frustrating than finding out that some public adjuster or general contractor or somebody juiced some estimate or added some things in that are palpably false or that otherwise give the insurance company the idea that you're being less than forthright. And like I said, if you have one thing that is fraudulent there, it ruins the whole pot. It makes them distrustful. But if you have accurate estimates, then you have such strength in your claim that we can win almost every single time.
Yeah, I mean, I can see how that would throw a monkey wrench into the timing. And again, you're right. I mean, people at this point, people are not trying to score with the insurance company to take a trip to Tahiti. People are just wanting to get out of a camper that they've been living in for a year and get into their house. I mean, it's, for Christ's sakes, it's been over a year.
No doubt. And I'll tell you that the most of the problems are not with an individual or a business choosing us. It's with the person they hire. If the person they hire has some misguided belief that if I put a higher estimate in, that somehow I can sell this for less money and I'll be some sort of a hero. It's just preposterous, absurd, and it just feeds into this virus of distrust with the insurance company that makes it justified for them to have pause. We want to eliminate that by being ethical and moral and great, by being a good person and getting an accurate estimate. And if the insurance company doesn't pay, well, then Scott Major will hammer them and make them pay all that money plus 2 or 3 times that, plus attorney's fees or whatever it takes to make sure they don't do this again to other people.
But it does happen, though, right? Like where the insurance company comes in and they go, well, we probably owe you $50,000. And then a Scott Major or somebody comes in and gets involved and realizes, no. I mean, that's way low ball. It's more about in the range of 100, 150,000. So that, to be transparent, that happens, right?
There's no doubt about it. And you have to remember that the issue is not, well, if the insurance company's going to lowball, then I'm going to be a fraudster myself and highball. That's not, 2 wrongs don't make a right. The attitude is get a detailed estimate that accurately reflects what it is that it costs to fix your property, and then hold true to that. And if the insurance company's too low, don't accept the money. I'm going to sue, and I'm going to get you all your money if it's supported by law. And they might have to pay thousands, tens of thousands, or hundreds of thousands of dollars in attorney's fees if they're mean-spirited or if they juice their estimate. In the end, be accurate. In the end, be ethical, because you're always going to win when you do that, because you have the goods that can be supported in a court of law, which will punish the defendant insurance company if they don't do the right thing, and it will give them the opportunity to do the right thing because you have an accurate estimate and you're saying, tell me what is wrong with this. Don't just lowball me. Tell me if I can get the lumber for $6 less per foot. Great. Tell me where to get it and I'll go get it.
How understanding are insurance companies about the inflated prices of not only labor, but like you just said, the lumber and all the essentials that are needed? Because like you said too, if it's in central Georgia, that's compared to here, there's going to be a big price difference in those 2 places.
There's no doubt about it, and the key is accuracy. I have had thousands of cases, tremendous success with showing an adjuster, that is the adjuster for the insurance company, showing the insurance company, hey, this is what it costs. If you think you can get it for cheaper, please tell me. I'm not trying to get $1 more than I deserve, but I'm also not going to take $1 less than I deserve. So here's my estimate. Go line by line. Tell me where I can get these materials or this labor for a better price. If you can, that's fantastic. We're thrilled. So I think that when you do that, you always win. Always. Because the insurance company realizes this is an honorable guy. Insurance companies think that I'm extremely professional and extremely honorable because I am. And what happens is over years or doing thousands of claims, they start calling us on the phone like they're doing now and saying, Scott, what's reasonable? how much is it really going to cost? And when I give them an estimate, they don't say, this is a fake estimate. They say, I see you're being honorable. And I say, if you think that the estimate I got is somehow inaccurate, great. Tell me where I can shave more costs. I'll save you money. We just want to get that roof put in or those windows done or that carpet replaced.
If you have a question, we're taking them on the air. If you have a question off the air for Scott and his crew, 844-800-LAWS, 844-800-LAWS. You can also find them on social media, on Facebook at Major Peruis and on Twitter at Major Peruis Law. Back with Scott coming up next. Stand by.
You think it, he says it. More Kramers Show, next on NewsTalk 101.
It's NewsTalk at 101. It is the Kramers Show. Scott Major's with us today, 850-233-9988, kind of walking us through different parts of the whole getting things back up to normal. Talking a lot about inflated costs and projections and estimates and stuff like that, which I think is really interesting. Because I you know, what's so crazy to me, Scott, one thing that I've learned about this year of being on the air with you and talking and learning is the disparity between how one person or one entity sees something and the other one sees it a different way or doesn't see it. In other words, let's say a window being compromised. Depending on who you ask, you may get the answer of there is nothing wrong with that window. And if you ask another person, oh, this window has definitely been compromised. And if you leave it like this, then over time, you know, it's been compromised and here's how we can tell. And there seems to be a lot of that too.
No doubt that you're going to have differences of opinion from various people. But the reality is that science usually carries the day. So if you have an expert who specifically will opine that from a scientific standpoint, that window has failed, or from a scientific standpoint, that window is not really, supportable in terms of in the future, then I challenge the other side to demonstrate how specifically that window is not compromised. And they're going to have to show that. And if they disagree, that's what courts and juries are for. That's what they're for. And so if you're able to get the right expert, what happens is that you end up overwhelmingly being successful. And that's what our jury system and our court system is for if there are disagreements. But it's a big risk for the insurance company because if they don't pay you and you're successful, they might have to pay all of your money plus all of their own attorney's fees plus all of your attorney's fees. And that could be hundreds of thousands of dollars that they didn't anticipate. And that is why it is risky for insurance companies to do something like that when, in fact, you actually have the right person, the right experts, giving you detailed and organized estimates that are supported by science.
So if an insurance company comes back and they say, well, your roof there, it was not damaged by wind from a hurricane. Well, I don't have a roof. What the heck blew it? We've heard some pretty amazing stories over the past 12 months.
And there's no doubt. And there are penalties, very strong penalties to people that insurance companies will have to pay. We had a claim one time that it was a $19,000 roof claim. And the insurance company, even though it was obvious and we had science, the insurance company refused to pay. And they said, we're not going to pay. We're going to sweat you out and you're going to go away. And a year later, they had to pay the $19,000 and then $50,000 of attorney's fees, plus their own attorney's fees. So it was a very, very painful lesson for them. So the key is if you have good science, good data, good reputable estimates, you're more likely to be successful and to motivate the insurance company to do what they should do. And that's what we have to do as a society.
And also, shouldn't it be in a timely manner? I mean, I've heard people say, yeah, they paid me an initial check pretty quickly. It was for a very small amount, and then months and months and months go by, and then they got the second one, and then I've heard people say, yeah, and I've got the first one, the second one, but now I'm owed a third one, and it is taking forever, and it's like pulling teeth. But after a while, I mean, how much more can you go back around and back around before you just say, this is what it is? We've agreed on the estimate. I got the work done. This is what you guys owe for all of the stuff, and they're still sitting on their hands.
Yeah, you and I have talked about this. I had jokes about this when I started this with these Love and Kisses T-shirts. And I said, if you recall, in week 1 a year ago, you write a letter to the insurance company and you say, dear insurance company, here is my estimate and my pictures. Either pay us or explain to me which parts of the estimate are inaccurate and which parts of the estimate should be corrected in what way, and tell me if you're not going to pay me the full amount. Love and Kisses you. And the reality is, when you do that, you can be very successful. We win every single case because we have data that supports us. And if we don't have data, we're not going to proceed with the case. We've had several cases over my career where they had the wrong insurance company, or the client didn't have the rights to sue because they had sold their property. When you don't have a case, you drop it. I don't know that other people do that, but I can just tell you that the most important thing for everyone is honesty and character and integrity. It always carries the day, and over the long term, it wins you not only reputational value, but success with the insurance company. Every insurance company wants to resolve this if they think they have exposure. And the proof is in the pudding, in that we are getting dozens, if not hundreds, of calls and emails begging us to give them a number, and we're doing that. And hopefully we'll get everybody's claim resolved, or we will go to trial and we will win.
Do you see that when you are open and honest and you do it by the book and you say, this is the exact cost, I haven't inflated anything by 1 cent, this is the exact cost of labor, materials, etc., and you make the case, you put it out nice and smooth and easy to read, you give it to the right people, do you still see that in those instances that insurance companies are hemming and hawing and sitting on their hands?
The answer is yes. You do have circumstances where people are just, either profit-oriented or malicious or stupid or whatever label you want to put on them. So not every single claim is perfect, but the lion's share of claims, when you're accurate, it is so easy, Kramer, to say to people, if you can find anything wrong with any part of this estimate, please tell me, because I'm writing you and I'm going to ask you in deposition under oath. Because if you have a reason why we should change this estimate, we will. But we won't change it just because you want to pay $12 less. We won't. Yeah,
it makes perfect sense. And by the way, I would assume too that if you're an honest guy and reputable and like you and Brian are, and you do everything that you can to make it absolutely correct the way it's supposed to be. You're not trying to inflate anything. You're not trying to be a skis ball. It would seem like it would be extremely frustrating to constantly hear, well, we have a problem with this, and we need to go back and think about this, and we need to come out and check this out, and on and on and on. So I'm sure that happens.
Yeah, listen, it's a very simple situation when you have me as your lawyer. I tell the insurance company, every day that you wait costs you a lot of money, because you have to pay my attorney's fees for every act that I engage in, and your own lawyer. So you, at your own peril, are delaying this proceeding. And every day that you wait will be a penalty. And you might have to pay a multiple of what you're owed, because if I demonstrate, which is becoming easier to do, if I demonstrate that you delayed, that now all of a sudden you want to pay for the roof a year later that you could have paid for in month 2, you've got a real problem, because you might have to pay double that amount or more. And so it's very, very important for people to understand that if you have honorability, if you have credibility, if you have character, you can take that to the bank, literally and figuratively.
Perfect hour, as always. You're talking about Scott Major, somebody who's done this and handled insurance claims and cases for over 30 years. Their phone number, 844-800-LAWS, 844-800-LAWS. Find them on Facebook at Major Peruis, M-A-G-E-R, Peruis, and on Twitter at Major Peruis Law. Again, fantastic information and a great hour. Thank you so much, Mr. Scott Major.
Hey, thanks for all you do for the community. Really appreciate it, and I'll talk to you soon, Bob.
Absolutely. I'll see you Thursday. There he is. Hour 3 coming up.
This is the Kramers Show. More to come on NewsTalk at 101.